This ripped hunk with an 8-pack abs just stepped out of the nutrient solution, and in the next second, his whole body shriveled up drastically, like a deflated balloon. He could barely even stand on his feet. Luckily, the man quickly grabbed an apple and stuffed it into his mouth, which reactivated the cells in his body. As Toriko ate more and more, his shriveled muscles returned to their original state. But just as Toriko was eating heartily, the regeneration seed hidden in his severed arm suddenly sprouted. Unbelievable. For an ordinary person, it takes at least 2.5 years for a severed limb to sprout, yet Toriko only needed 2.5 seconds. In the blink of an eye, Toriko finished all the food in one go, but it was far from enough. Once the food supply was cut off, Toriko's body started to shrivel up rapidly again. It wouldn't be long before he turned into a dried-up husk. Seeing this, Yusako quickly told the others to prepare more food, and so Toriko ate from day till night. Yet no matter how much he ate, his stomach still felt empty. It felt like all the nutrition he took in was being absorbed by the regeneration seed in his severed arm. Worn out from eating, Toriko was about to lie back in the nutrient solution to rest for a while, when suddenly an accident happened. Toriko suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, and then his body was racked with intense pain. As everyone stared in shock, Yasako calmly said it was a normal reaction. In just one day, Toriko's severed arm had already started to grow back, so the excruciating pain was just a side effect. To ease Toriko's suffering, Yasako specially prepared pain-relieving honey for him, and whether he could pull through next all depended on Toriko's own willpower. As they spoke, Toriko's severed arm was regenerating at a visible speed. But just then, Yasako suddenly found that the pain-relieving honey was running out. To save Toriko, the group set out to harvest honey from the pain-relieving bees on the grassland. By this time, Toriko was trembling all over from the pain. He was on the verge of giving up. Fortunately, the others made it back just in time. Meanwhile, Komatsu was busy making the century soup. He had tried over 1,000 times, yet still couldn't replicate that irresistible taste. Helpless, Komatsu had to ask Grandma Fusano for help. What he didn't know was, it had taken Grandma Fusano 30 years to make a replica of the century soup. Komatsu was completely crushed by this news. However, after Grandma Fusano tasted Komatsu's soup, her brows suddenly furrowed. She didn't shower him with praise. Instead, Grandma Fusano just told Komatsu his century soup was only one step away from perfection, that he needed to listen to the ingredients with all his heart, to learn to communicate with them. Komatsu was instantly inspired, and hurried back to the kitchen at once. This time, following Grandma Fusano's advice, Komatsu tried to communicate with the ingredients. He poured his heart into every single step. Finally, after simmering for 2.5 hours, Komatsu made a bowl of crystal clear soup. He couldn't wait to take a sip, and a surge of intense happiness instantly welled up in his heart. But just as Komatsu was reveling in his joy, he suddenly felt like something was missing from the century soup. As Komatsu pondered what the final ingredient could be, suddenly you outside the door grew agitated and restless. Seeing you approach, Komatsu thought he was hungry, so he set the century soup on the ground. When you saw the soup, he couldn't stop drooling, but the moment his drool fell into the soup, something miraculous happened. The century soup was born. Never would he have thought that Yu's drool was the final ingredient for the soup. He couldn't wait to pick up a spoon and take a sip, but the second the soup touched his lips, Komatsu broke into a silly, blissful grin. He had finally replicated the real century soup. Meanwhile, Toriko suddenly woke up from his unconscious state. He gasped for breath heavily. He looked down and saw that his severed arm had fully grown back. Toriko was filled with overwhelming excitement. He then slowly stood up. Even though they were miles apart, the gourmet cells in his body told him that Komatsu's century soup was finally complete.